Hello, hello. Welcome to our Institute of Global Professional free webinar. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining and stay with us till the end. Once again, I'm Aksar Bani, core volunteer and ambassador in IGP. First, I want to say about today's webinar. Today's webinar is workable for those who lose their hope, didn't trust, and have suspect on oneself. When I read his bio, one thing catches my eyes, that our guest speaker helps others to become a game changer. So I hope today's webinar will be effective who are struggling with own soul. Every day some new participant joined with us. So I have to be give little concept about IGP, providing histologic, social work and education for create a proficient generation. We have already completed 70 webinars successfully. We expected that you all are getting a little bit benefited in personal and professional life, and we wish that you all are the remaining with us in long journey. I am honestly welcome you all. Today we are presenting the webinar 71 on winning battle with Within. With speaker Sylvester Jenkins, sir. So let's start our program. Sylvester Jenkins is a native of Columbus, GA, who realized he wanted to help others to create success and fulfillment in a meaningful way. Throughout his 20 years of military service, he was in charge of multiple organizations within 50 to 100 soldiers under his charge. The multifaceted professional speaker is a man of many applications, including a retired U.S. Army first entrepreneur, devoted husband and father. Sylvester is no stranger to adversity. Sylvester grew up in low-income, single-parent homes surrounded by gang violence in a drug invested in neighborhood. He overcame his environment and now we can call him as a comeback veteran, college graduate, best-selling author and professional speaker. In 2019, he created Rising to the Top R28 to help others become a big game changer that achieve more by focusing on leadership and personal growth. He is an experienced person who has empowered hundreds of people by helping them reach their goal. So please give a warm welcome to Sylvester Jenkins, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello. Hey, how's everybody doing?
How are you, sir?
All right, thank you so much for that introduction. So, how's everybody doing out there? So, before we begin, I would like to just see where everybody is located at. If you could possibly just put your location and your age in the comment, because what I'm about to share with you today is something that is very important, and it's something that we all deal with, regardless of where we're located, regardless of what our age is, and also just who we are as a person, our race and religion. I see we got a lot of people in from the Philippines today. So, hey, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for giving me your time, because time is one of the most precious things that we have on this earth. And once you give it, you cannot get it back. So I appreciate you for investing your time today. So today I'm going to share with you about winning the battle within. And it's based off my book called Resiliency, the Secret Ingredient. And I titled it Winning the Battle Within because a lot of times when we're dealing with hardships, struggles, sacrifices, and many other things, is our biggest enemy is our enemy. And I say that due to certain things that we're able to control. But in the process of doing that, as we look back at 2020 was a dramatic change for a lot of people. It changed our way of living. It changed the way we worked. It changed our way of learning. It changed our way of interacting. Not only did it do that, but it also brought on a lot of hardships. It brought on a lot of depression, stress, anxiety, and increased the rate of suicide ideations and suicides in death. People lost family members, people lost loved ones, and I think and I feel that a lot of this could have been prevented if we increased our strength and resilience. This is why I call it, the main reason I call it the secret ingredient is because a lot of people don't speak about resilience. You don't hear too many people speak about resilience when it comes to overcoming adversity, when it comes to battling hardships and challenges. But it's something that is really needed. It is a key skill in life in order to overcome certain circumstances and situations. And I feel that the information that I share with you today can help you be able to overcome any challenges and battles that you might deal with. So that's the meaning of today's program is winning the battle within. I want to share with you everything that I possibly know from my experience and knowledge in order to help you get through the battle that you deal with within. So let's begin. So I want to share with you a story about me during my time in the military. For those who don't know, I'm a recent retired Army First Sergeant. I joined the military due to job security and many other family members that served. For about the first 8 years of my military career, I consider myself to be a follower that transitioned into a manager. Notice how I said a manager and not a leader. I did not have the confidence or the belief that I could be a leader. It wasn't until my third deployment that I realized the obligation that had been bestowed upon me. And as we get that last hour to spend with our families, and as we get ready to board the plane, one of my soldiers introduced me to his family, his wife, his kids, his mother, and his father. And as we're standing there talking, and I'm listening to all these great things that this soldier is saying about me, I'm just standing there in amazement of the influence and the impact that I had on this person. And his mother pulls me to the side. And when she pulls me to the side, she tells me, please take care of my son and to bring him back home safe. You see, for someone outside of my own family to speak that highly of me and to have that much trust in me, lit a fire in me that continues to burn to this day. It gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me a sense of self-worth. 12 months later, we came back from that deployment safe and sound. But 6 months later, that same soldier that introduced me to his family lost his life to the battle within. You see, no one knew that during that deployment that this soldier was dealing with or going through a divorce. No one knew that once we had came back from that deployment, that he had resorted to drugs and alcohol in order to suppress his pain. He could not overcome the demons that he had inside his mind. So I want to tell you that you can overcome anything. I want to tell you that you are unstoppable. I want to tell you that you are unbreakable. You can win the battle within. All you have to do is believe in yourself. So let's begin. I'm going to just give you a brief overview of everything that we'll be discussing today. So during this discussion, we'll be going over a little bit about me. I'll tell you what resilience is, how to become more resilient, the importance of resilience, emotional intelligence, 9 steps to more resilience, building your personal resilience to reduce stress, factors that promote resilience. Max Out. Max Out is a great acronym that I have created in order to help you stay on track with being resilient. And how resilient are you? a little quiz, just a 10-question quiz, just to see where your resilient level is at. So let's begin. So a little bit about me. I gave you a little brief about me earlier, but just to let you know who I am again, my name is Sylvester Jenkins III. I'm from Columbus, Georgia. I grew up in a low-income single-parent home in a gang and drug-infested neighborhood where a young black man was only expected to do three things, and that's go to jail, die, or make it out on pure luck. But instead of becoming a product of my environment, I chose to join the military and invest in myself instead. Beating the odds with no luck, all hard work and determination, I can now call myself a combat veteran, a best-selling author, a first-generation college graduate, and a professional speaker by using this powerful skill that I'm here to share with you today. Would you believe me if I told you that 2020 was my best year? Out of all the years in this world, 2020 was my best year. So let's go into resilience. What is it and why is it important? Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. And when I talk about bounce back from adversity, the analogy that I like to give is about the tennis ball and the egg. You see, when you drop an egg on the ground, it shatters, it breaks. But when you drop a tennis ball on the ground, it bounces back. This is what having resilience is for you. Let's say you're the tennis ball and you have that resilience. It's the ability to bounce back from issues or deal with issues and rise again and carry on. We all know that adversity is inevitable. It's something that's going to happen. We cannot avoid it. Like I said earlier, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what your age is, regardless of what your occupation is, you will deal with adversity at some point in time in your life. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us to put us in certain situations that we just can't, that's difficult for us to face. But with having resilience, it'll make it easier for us to overcome those situations that we might deal with. You're still going to run into those circumstances, but it won't affect you as much as it would if you didn't have that level of resilience. It has been shown that the suicide rate increased a whole lot for those people who did not have a strong level of resilience. So resilience is a skill, not a trait, that can be learned. So don't think that just because you don't have a strong level of resilience that you can't gain it. You can truly gain resilience. So here's a couple of ways to how to become resilient. So here's 3 ways to become resilient. So one is to have good habits. When I'm talking about having good habits, I'm talking about exercising, I'm talking about eating healthy, I'm talking about sleeping, getting enough rest. They say the best amount of sleep to get is roughly about 8 hours. And then also being able to control your emotions. Emotional intelligence is something that we'll dive in later on down this conversation, but it's something that is well needed. This is where you turn into the thermostat. You're being able to control your emotions. So when you feel like you're getting too heated, you can always turn the temperature down some. And when you feel like you're being too passive, you can always turn the temperature up a little bit. You got to set it at that right temperature. And then just getting more help and giving more help. I think everybody has a purpose to serve. I think one of the number one reason we're on this earth is to serve others. But then also, whenever we need help, there are people to help us, friends, family members, close ones that we really admire that can help us and point us in the right direction. Seeing counseling or getting therapy in order to help you grow and become better. And then also just being a caterer to others, being able to provide service to them, because when you do that, it gives you a sense of self-confidence. It gives you a sense of self-esteem in order to, it changes you from a rescuer than being a victim. Let me say that for you again. It turns you to being a rescuer instead of a victim. So it gives you a better sense of purpose, because everybody was created on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose. So keep that in mind. 3 things that can help you build your resilience: having good habits, controlling your emotions, getting and giving help. And then also, when you're talking about those good habits, you also got to look at the people that are around you, because sometimes you can be around 9 broke people, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the 10th one. So make sure that your circle, the people that you're hanging around with, are going on the same path that you are. You don't want to hang around with negative people, because negative attracts negative. Positive attracts positive. And then you want to make sure that you provide yourself with the best tools and resources in order to continue to propel and gain this level of resilience and have a strong mind in the process. So the importance of resilience. So I got a quote down here that I wrote. It says, if you want to have complete control of our lives, then we must be resilient. If we want to have complete control of our lives, then we must be resilient. Because like I said earlier, resilience is going to throw you a curveball anywhere down the line. It's going to happen. It's something that's inevitable, something that you can't change. But the importance of resilience is to have that emotional strength in order to carry on through trauma and adversities. An analogy that I like to give whenever I'm talking about this portion right here is the shocks on your car. Say like you're driving down a dark road, a dark dirt road with no shocks on the vehicle. And when you're driving down this road, you feel all the bumps, you feel all the potholes, you feel the impact of all these things. And it's a miserable ride. It's a real miserable ride. And it's miserable to the point that it's excruciating and you don't want to deal with it anymore. And when that happens, a lot of times people stop driving the vehicle and get out of the car. But with resilience, being the shock absorbers, if you have the shock absorbers on your car, you don't feel the bumps, you don't feel the potholes, you don't feel the impact of it fully. You're still going to hit it, you're still going to experience it, but you won't experience it as much. This is the importance of resilience. This is why it's so needed, because without it, the ride would be totally miserable. But with them, it'll probably be a smooth ride somewhere down the line. And when you hit a pothole, it won't be as excruciating, it won't be as bad, and you won't feel the total impact of that. So make sure that you try to gain any type of resilient skills that you can throughout the process, not only during this seminar right here, but any other time that you might inquire about it. So emotional intelligence. Remember I told you we was going to speak about emotional intelligence earlier. So emotional intelligence is one of the key things when dealing with gaining resilience, because this is where you get self-mastery at. Self-mastery is something that you need to learn dealing with the inner self. You need to learn self-regulation, self-control, motivation. All these things are dealing with emotional intelligence. Remember I said earlier, this is where you become the thermostat and not the thermometer. You know, the thermometer only tells the temperature, but the thermostat controls the temperature. And when I'm talking about the temperature, I'm talking about mainly your emotions, because your emotions controls your thoughts. I mean, your thoughts controls your emotions, and your emotions controls your behavior. But if we're able to control our emotions, then our behavior will be better for those that we are around, because it doesn't just affect you, it affects those around you as well. So make sure that you understand that you have a strong understanding of yourself when interacting with other people, and then just also deal with certain circumstances that you might go through in life, because you can change that at any point in time. You have to be real optimistic about certain situations. You have to think about like, if you just so happen your car breaks down. If your car breaks down, you might be a little heated behind the situation of your vehicle breaking down. But guess what? You can always get another one. Just because you lost that car doesn't mean you cannot get another car. It's the fact of the matter that your car just stopped working during that time span. But you have to be optimistic. You have to always hunt the good stuff, because if you're not hunting the good stuff, you will always think negative about certain circumstances that you deal with. There's good and a lot of bad things as well. So don't sit here and think that at any point in time that some things that are bad are just completely bad. It's a learning process. So resilience is a process, not a trait. Now, remember I said earlier when we was talking that resilience is a skill. Yes, it's a skill. It's not something that everybody has a strong trait of initially being brought into this world. It's something that you gain over time. Notice how I said gain over time, which means it's not something that you're going to learn overnight. So in the process of learning resilience, you have to take the opportunity and the time to work on building resilience. And I say that because it's just like working out. When you're trying to get in shape, you don't see the results overnight. When you initially start working out, you don't go to the gym for one day and then all of a sudden you look like you can have a six-pack and abs. It's just not real. It's just not believable. Like, what has to happen is that you work on it over time, and as time moves on, you start to see the results. You start to build that resilience to a point where you have everything that you need in order to be where you need to be. So make sure that you take the opportunity to really put that into consideration, because some people quit because they're not seeing the results they expected to see at that time. And there's no real time frame because everybody is different. So you can't sit here and see the results that I receive from resilience and expect to get the same results in the same amount of time. Because like I said before, everybody is different. So just keep that in mind when you're going through the process of learning or gaining this resilience, building that strength and resilience. So make sure that you do that. So so most of the wrongful mistakes resilience as a trait unique to a particular individual. So like I said before, just make sure that you don't sit here and give your hopes up dealing with gaining resilience due to the fact that it's not where you thought you should be at that certain point in time. Just stay on track. You can do it. All right. 9 steps to more resilience. 9 steps to more resilience. Here we go. So 9 steps. 1, cultivate the right mind frame. Like I said before, hey, your mindset is everything. Sometimes our biggest enemy is our enemy. Make sure you cultivate the right mindset. All right. Hey, remember the change is part of life. You got to be optimistic. Always hunt the good stuff. Make sure you keep that in mind. Change is a part of life. It's going to happen. All right. Hey, keep a positive outlook. Hey, look at the best in everything that you do. All right. Always have an expectation of the best, but prepare for the worst. That's the best thing I can tell you. Always have a positive expectation of the best, but prepare for the worst. And then become more emotionally aware. We spoke about emotional intelligence earlier. We spoke a lot about emotional intelligence earlier. And when we spoke about that area, we said that you're the thermostat and not the thermometer. So just keep that in mind. And then develop a sense of humor. Sense of humor is one of the best things that you have. Everybody loves to laugh. Everybody loves something that's funny. What me and my wife do a lot of times, whenever we find ourselves dealing with certain circumstances, issues, just because you have a level of resilience doesn't mean you're not gonna face hardships. You just know how to deal with those hardships a little better than some people who don't have a strong level of resilience. So we still have struggles, failures, and issues that we deal with, although that we have a sense of resilience. Now, gaining that sense of humor, a lot of times we go on YouTube and watch these funny videos, and then make sure, we watch these funny videos, and then make sure that we gain or we get entertained prior to us going to bed. So just make sure that you gain a sense of humor and you watch some videos. And then exercise regularly. Exercise is a great way of actually not only working out your body, but also working out your mind as well. Because with getting those endorphins going can actually reduce your level of stress. It's also, something that's good. It get air to the brain. It provides that sense of feel good, because once you do for self, it's easy to pass that along to other people. And then do something that helps you towards your goals. Do something that helps you towards your goals. Everybody should have goals. Everybody should have some sense of goals that they had put out for the new year, whatever it might be in their life. So just make sure that you just work towards your goals and don't give up. Write them down if you have to. Put them on a sheet of paper and then post them somewhere so you can see them every day. And then the last but not least, the number one of all in my book is just don't give up. Don't quit. Keep going. Don't quit. Like I said before, you might get knocked off track. You might get bumped off the road a little bit, but guess what? You can still do it. You can still do it. So just make sure that you continue to try to gain and build this resilience. So here are 9 steps to more resilience. So factors that promote resilience. So maintain a lot of courage, a lot of high self-esteem, and a lot of self-efficiency. Now, a lot of this has to do with personal self-growth. All right. A lot of this has to do with a lot of personal self-growth, because it starts with you first. If you're not committed to the things or the changes that you want to make in your life, then it will be hard for anybody else to conceive what you're trying to bring to the table. So just make sure that you try to work on building self-esteem, and that you work on your personal growth in the matters of things that you're trying to do and proceed in. Building a psychological defense. A lot of time we talk ourselves off the ledge whenever we're trying to jump towards something that we want. And when we talk ourselves off the ledge, when we're getting ready to jump towards something that we want, because as humans, sometimes we allow the things that people say or the things that people or that happen to us dictate our goals, our dreams, and also dealing with our emotions. And I'm sure that everybody that's listening right now, there has been a time where you felt so confident about yourself or something, but because of something that happened to you, all of that confidence went away. So just try to maintain or build a psychological defense. Instead of telling yourself you can't do this, make sure you tell yourself you can. Repeat that over in your head. Talk as if it already happened. Don't sit there and just allow or feel as though it's haven't happened or you can't do it. And then also just having more resources. More resources in defense will help cope and bounce back. So resources, when I'm talking about resources, you have YouTube, you have books, you have programs like this right here. You also have other platforms, organizations, and groups that can be resources in order to help you gain more resilience. So these are factors that promote resilience. So take an opportunity to look over this real quick. And then all of these factors that I talk about, especially the first one, is a strong characteristic of the person that I'm about to talk about next. So Aaron Ralston. Have any of you heard of Aaron Ralston? And who has not heard of Aaron Ralston? Let me see it in the chat box. Who has not heard of Aaron Ralston? If you could put it in the chat box. Yes, if you have. No, if you haven't. Okay, I see. Yes, I think so. So for those who don't know who Aaron Ralston is, Aaron Ralston was hiking in the canyons and got stuck and wedged in between the rock and the canyon. And when he got stuck in between the rock and the canyon, he was stuck there for 5 days, 120 plus hours. He was stuck there with no food, no water, no signs of survival, none whatsoever. He managed to build up the courage during the time frame of him struggling to escape to amputate his own arm. He amputated his own arm. He built up the courage to amputate his own arm. Some of us struggle with cutting off a relationship, but this man built up the courage to cut off his own arm. Like, that took a lot of resilience in order to do that. Like, that doesn't just happen. You have to build up the courage. It was all in his mind that, like, I need to survive. I need to live. I'm going to do what it takes in order to make it. Some people would have given up right there and just would have died and just remained stuck there. But he chose to continue on some way, somehow, even if it cost me a body part. That's true resilience when it comes to what he did. It is, I think, it's a phenomenal thing, and I think this was a prime example of what he did. He cut off his arm with a dull pocket knife. He cut off his arm with a dull pocket knife and hiked several miles to safety until he seen a rescue. Like, not only did he amputate his arm, but he built up courage and he built up the nerves to continue moving forward. He was stuck in between a rock and a hard place. How many of you have been stuck in between a rock and a hard place and didn't know how to get out of it? I think that happens plenty of time for a lot of us. And when it happens, 99.9% of the time, you overcame it. You overcame it. Like, sometimes we deal with issues, we deal with problems, we suppress them, but we don't deal with them successfully. By having resilience, it's dealing with your situation successfully. It's dealing with your adversity successfully. I see some people saying there's something wrong with the audio. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me good? Type in the chat box yes if you can hear me good. Okay, awesome. I see some people audio speaking something wrong. Can you please fix it? Let me see here. Some people can hear me good. No audio, sir. Some people say yes. Some people say no. Audio is not quite good. Okay. All right, can y'all hear me now? Put a yes in the chat box, see if you can hear me now. Or is there still some issue with the audio? We can hear you, sir. Okay, awesome. Awesome. The audio is not good. We can't hear you clear. No, sir. The audio is static. Wow. Some say yes, some say I really don't know what the issue is with that. Okay, yes, very clear. Okay, awesome.
Yes, now is it completely okay? Your voice is now is there completely okay?
It's working now?
No, your voice is now it completely okay, sir. Now audio is okay now.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Let's finish. Let's go. Okay. So Aaron Ralston, we got there talking about Aaron Ralston, him building up the courage in order to amputate his own arms and then hike several miles of safety. 420 plus hours, he was stuck and wedged in between the rock. But you gotta think about that, like the opportunity that took in order to make that happen. So let's carry on. If we got to do a quick review, I'm willing to do a quick review just to make sure that everybody is on point with everything that's going on right now. So I hope everybody heard a little bit of what I said earlier, but if you didn't, we can do a quick review. If you want to do a quick review, just let me know now. Put in the chat box, yes, if you want to do a quick review. I'm all for doing a quick review just to make sure everybody is on point, because I want to make sure that you gain all this information so you you can be resilient. So you can go out here and make sure that you can overcome anything that you might experience and go through dealing with the circumstances that we have in life today. And if you can't, hey, we'll keep going. All right, so let's carry on. All right, so I will max out. So max is an acronym that I came up with to keep me on track whenever it came down to maintaining my level of resilience. So max stands for, is short for maximum, which means reaching your highest potential, right? So max, we will discuss max, and when we discuss max, we're going to go through each letter individually, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, because overall, this is what you can control. You can't control nothing else that you deal with outside of what I'm about to speak to you about dealing with max. You know, I really feel there are only really 3 things that you can control in life. And that is your mindset, your attitude, and how you execute the actions that you take. And when I say this, I say it because you can't control the people that you're in relationship with. You can't control your family members. You can't control the environment. You can't control the coronavirus. You can't control COVID. You can't control that. You notice that. But guess what you can control? You can't control your mindset. You can't control you. You can control your attitude. You can control how you execute, because your thoughts bleed over into your emotions, which bleed over into your behavior, which bleeds over into how you act. All of this coincide with one another, but it starts with our mind first. So if we're able to go ahead and make sure we have the right mindset initially starting out, guess what? We can make sure that our attitude and our actions are on point as well. So let's go ahead and get into the first letter. Our mindset. So what we feed our brains is just as important as what we feed our bodies. The conversations, the images, the words, the ideas, they all shape our lives. You know, for a long period of my life, I used to wonder if mindset really mattered. I never thought that my mind had something to do with how I acted in my day-to-day life. But I took the opportunity to really dive in and to learn something that, you know, this is something that I can change. And just to share a little story with you, as a teenager, I was an aspiring drug dealer, a gang member, and an occasional thief. I failed the 4th grade, the 6th grade, the 8th grade, the 10th grade, and 12th grade. I can recall being in my English class taking the final exam for a test to decide whether I'll graduate on time with the rest of my class or not. And as we get done taking the test, the teacher's calling everybody outside individually to give them their grades. And then when she called my name, my palms started sweating, my heart started racing, and as I'm walking out into the hallway, anticipating what she was about to tell me, she opened her mouth and she tells me that I had failed the test, that I did not have what it takes, and that I wasn't college material. My heart just dropped right there on the spot. You see, between my childhood and the thing that she had told me, I felt like I was a failure at all levels. I had did what I considered to be the biggest thing you can do, and that was give up on myself. I gave up on myself, and it was all because of the words that I heard from somebody else. It was all because I believed what that person told me when it came down to who I was. You see, there are 2 types of mindsets. You have a fixed mindset and you have a growth mindset. This goes into the conscious and the subconscious mind. But I'm not going to dive deep into the subconscious mind. I'm going to stick to the types of mindsets. So the fixed mindset pretty much says that I can't do this. It talks yourself off the ledge. It prevents you from doing things, that you might feel that you have the capabilities of doing. But a growth mindset says I can. They're willing to take risks. They're willing to go above and beyond a certain circumstance that they are in order to keep moving forward. You see, this is what I like to call eyesight versus mindsight. And when I say eyesight is seeing the things that are in front of you. Like me, failing over and over and over again in school. My teacher telling me that I wasn't college material. That's eyesight. But then your mindsight is perceiving the things that you see. That's like me becoming a college graduate, me becoming a best-selling author. Those are things that I perceive to see. Because if I sat there and thought about what that teacher had told me, my life would have been ruined for the rest of my life, and I would have continued to have a fixed mindset. But I chose to change and have a growth mindset. That mindset, which I spoke about earlier, is a powerful lens that controls your actions and emotions. Your mindset can be your liability or it can be your greatest asset. And I'm sure everybody on here would like for them to be their greatest asset. So just make sure that whenever it comes down to you doing anything, that you choose to have a growth mindset instead. 3 ways to gain a growth mindset are: 1, commit. Commit. It starts with you first. It always starts with you first. When you put your best foot forward to want to gain the knowledge and the wealth in order to become better, commitment to yourself, you owe that to yourself. So make sure you commit to yourself. Say, I want to be better. I'm going to do better. And when you do those things, you'll start to move forward in the right direction. And then the influences, the people that are around you, you might want to change your circle. Only hang out with quality people. Only invest your time in the quality people. Because remember what I said, time is your most precious item on this earth. Once you give it, you cannot get it back. So you want to make sure you're investing it wisely. Something that's going to benefit you in the long run. Something that's going to help you propel to that next level that you're trying to be. So make sure that your influences that you hang it around are the right type of people. Then also the tools and the resources. Making sure you have the tools and the resources that you need. Like I said before, YouTube, books, podcasts, programs like this right here. All of these things are the tools that are needed in order to prepare you to that next level, to help you grow, to help you get to where you need to be. So make sure that you think about that whenever it comes down to it. Your mindset is everything. Your mindset will get you to where you need to be. So it starts with there first. If you change your mindset, you'll be able to change everything around you. Because I promise you, when that happens, it's going to be in a totally different light. This is what I did to have a better year in 2020. So initially when 2020 started, the pandemic came out and then everybody was all over the place because they didn't know how to handle this situation. And I realized I could not handle what was going on dealing with COVID. But what I could handle and control was myself. And I started with my mind first because I thought about like, how can I be better during this situation? And when I thought about how I could be better, I said I could pick up a skill. I said I can work out at home. I can educate myself by watching YouTube in order to learn different things that I can do in order to make myself better. And that's what I did on a constant basis. When we were quarantined and we couldn't go nowhere, the best person to invest in is yourself. Is yourself. Whatever it might be, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're striving to be, the best person to invest in is yourself, because that's when you'll get your biggest return at. You'll get your biggest return investing in yourself. So don't take that for granted. Make sure that you put the best foot forward in investing in yourself. So now that we discussed mindset, we're going to go into the attitude. Attitude is everything. Attitude will make you or break you. Attitude will make you or break you. I remember there's a movie called Remember the Titans. And it's starring Denzel Washington. For those who haven't seen this, it's a Disney movie, and it's about this football team back in the 70s. And there's a scene from the movie, as you can see the picture up here. There's a scene from the movie where the 2 defensive captains are going back and forth after each other's throat, and they're arguing and they're bickering about the team not performing to the best of their abilities. And when they're arguing about it, one of the captains says, "Attitude reflects leadership." Attitude reflects leadership. And when I heard that, it was just like, wow, there it is. Your attitude not only affects you, but those around you. Your attitude affects your family. Your attitude affects your co-workers. Your attitude affects everyone around you. So you need to make sure that you set the right temperature whenever you're going around these people, because you don't want to set it too hot, being aggressive and mad, because people will be standoffish and don't want to talk to you. I can recall during my time in the military when I'll come home from work after I had a bad day, and then nobody in my family, my wife, my kids, they really didn't want to talk to me. They really didn't want to speak to me. They didn't want to do anything dealing with me. They wanted to give me an opportunity to cool off. But by the time that opportunity came when it was cooling off, guess what? The day was over with. The day was over. It was time for the next day. It was time to get up and get back going to the next day. Have you ever wondered why the lion is the king of the jungle? It's not the biggest. Last time I checked, the elephant is. It's not the fastest. Last time I checked, the cheetah is. It's not the tallest. Last time I checked, the giraffe is. But anytime the lion comes around, these animals, what do? They run. They scatter. And why is that? Because of one thing, his attitude. When he goes in, when he get around these animals, the first thing he think is lunch. I can eat these animals. And he acts the way he thinks, which goes back to our mindset. It's our mindset. It starts with here first. Once we get our mind on point, and then we get our attitude on point, and we go in there, and that can be considered confidence. It's a belief, a strong gain of confidence that we have, which goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Remember, I said earlier when we started that I did not have a belief that I was a leader. I did not have the confidence that I was a leader. And it wasn't until somebody else seen that I was a leader that I believed I was a leader, because it gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me a sense of self-worth. So remember, your attitude is everything. Your attitude is how you operate in life. So make sure you set the right temperature. Make sure that you set the tone. So I believe there are three types of people in this world. And follow along with me when I say this. So this is still dealing with our attitude. So you have the potato, you have the egg, and you have the coffee bean. Let me say that for you one more time. You have the potato, you have the egg, and you have the coffee bean. You see, everyone deals with adversity, but everybody don't face adversity the same. They don't deal with it the same way. What might bother me might not bother you. How I feel whenever I'm going through a divorce, you might not feel the same way. But guess what? This is where the potato, the egg, and the coffee bean comes into play. So let's say that adversity is hot boiling water, right? Adversity is hot boiling water. So you got that potato. When you initially look at the potato, you see that it's hard, which is a representation of being strong, right? But when you stick it in that hot boiling water, what happens to it? It grows soft, which is considered weak. Let's say it lost its job. Let's say they failed to test at school. Guess what? Now I feel weak. I feel like I don't have that same confidence that I had before. That's what the reaction is as the potato. And then you have the egg. So the egg is already fragile from the start. Like I said at the beginning, you drop that egg, it's going to shatter, it's going to break. But when you stick it in that hot boiling water, let's say loss of a loved one, let's say a divorce, let's say a huge breakup, what happens to that egg? It hardens on the inside. It grows bitter. It grows bitter. And then when you have that coffee bean, you see that coffee bean, when you stick coffee beans in hot boiling water, what happens to it? Now it then went from hot boiling water to coffee. The same circumstance that brought it pain, it changed the surrounding for its better. It found purpose in its pain. And this is where resilience comes into play. You have to be a coffee bean. You have to be a coffee bean in every surrounding, because you cannot change the circumstances of what happened, but you can change how you deal with the situation for yourself. This is where you have to be a coffee bean. This is where resilience comes into play. Another more ways to become more resilient, what I had told you earlier. And then I said exercising. Exercising was a key way. Having a spiritual foundation is another way. Emotional intelligence is another way. Just making sure that you stay on point with those areas in order to progress. I'm gonna give you a couple of other keys when it comes to building or gaining more resilience. But just keep in mind that you want to be the coffee bean and not the egg or the potato. Those times have came in your life, but today that stops. It starts with you. Remember, it starts with you. So don't give up, don't quit. All right, so last but not least, X stands for execute. Execute. You see, once we have our mindset on point and we have our attitude on point, the only thing left to do now is execute. This is where you go from ordinary to extraordinary. This is where you go from average to awesome. Your mind doesn't control, your body doesn't control your mind. Your mind controls your body. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great. You see, a lot of us don't take the opportunity to put our best foot forward because we don't see the end result when we get ready to start. We don't see the results right then and there on the spot, or we don't know what's at the end of the tunnel when we do start. So our mind, which we control, it doesn't control us, we control it, which we control kind of tells us or give us that defense mechanism to try and tell us, hey, this isn't for you. You probably want to change and do something else. But I'm telling you, it's not easy to max out. It takes three things that I call the 3D effect, and that's determination, dedication, and discipline. Let me say that for you one more time. Determination, dedication, and discipline. Once you put one foot in front of the other and you don't look back, keep moving forward. And if you don't find yourself where you need to be in the time that you expected to be, just remember, small steps equal great distances. Remember why you started from the beginning. It's probably because you wanted to do something better with your life. You got two choices, either to be bitter or to be better. Let me say that for you again. You have two choices every day that you wake up, either to be bitter or to be better. I think you'll choose choice number 2, to be better. So keep that in mind why you started from the beginning, and don't lose sight of that. If you find yourself not taking where you should be, just remember, small steps equal great distances. This is where you need to turn on your GPS. And I'm not talking about TomTom or Garmin. I'm talking about having goals, purpose, and strategy. Your GPS, goals, purpose, and strategy. You see, once we know our goals and we understand our purpose and we have a strategy, there's no reason why we can't reach our destination. There's no reason why we can't reach our destination. Anytime you cut on your GPS, guess what? When you start to get off track, it redirects you and gets you back on track. So make sure you turn on your GPS in the process of doing these things that you're trying to do right now. Don't go astray from what you're trying to do. If you got a goal, continue to move forward and reach it. Commit that. Make that promise to yourself that you're going to make it. Not only you, remember those around you who probably looking at you right now saying that, like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it too. So the 4 canteens of resilience. There's 4 canteens. I call it, so in the military, we drunk out of canteens. I'm sure a lot of you know what it is. It was a hydration device that you use in order to drink water out of. So we have canteens in the military. So these 4 canteens are what will help you when it comes to maintaining your level of resilience or increasing it. So you have the physical, you have relationships, you have emotional, and you have spiritual. Now, if you want to look at it, you can look at a dollar, and it's 4 quarters to a dollar, right? So these are the 4 quarters to that dollar. And if you want to look at it in another way, these are the 4 legs on the chair. So if you have a chair, if you take away 3 of these, you can't stand on only one. You just can't be in good health and not have an emotional and spiritual foundation. You cannot be in a relationship, have friends and family around you, and not be in emotional and spiritual in shape. You have to have all 4 of these canteens. And when one run out, you can always refill it, but you have to put in the work in order to refill it. If you want to be great, you have to put in the work. If you want to go to college, you have to put in the work. If you want to get this good job or you want to get promoted on the job, you have to put in work. Nothing happens without action. And one of the things that you need to invest in is you. And then when it comes to what you need to invest in, you need to invest in these 4 canteens, because I will promise you, once you're good with self, you'll be good amongst everybody else. Your true friends will come. Your family members, if they didn't like you from the start, guess what? They will fall off. Your circle will change. But the food, the shelter, make sure you're eating good food. And then the emotional, make sure you're controlling your emotional reactions. Make sure you have that emotional intelligence. Make sure you have that self-mastery. And then when it comes to your spiritual belief, whatever you believe in, if your faith is so strong from the beginning, guess what? It'll carry over to a lot of other things that you might be dealing with. Your spiritual faith is one of the main things that you should have whenever it comes to what you're doing as far as building this resilience, because faith is a true sense of hope. Faith will get you through those hard times. The belief that you have in a higher being will always get you through those tough times that you might be dealing with, especially when it came down to COVID, especially when it came down to depression, anxiety, and things like that. Now, keep in mind, whenever you start to think about what you are able to control, you're only able to control today. You can't control tomorrow. You can't control yesterday. You can't control any of those things, because when you think about tomorrow, guess what? It might give you a sense of anxiety. If you think about yesterday, it might give you a sense of depression, depending on what happened to you during that time frame. If something that is no longer there with you, like a family member or a relationship that you previously had, guess what? It might give you a sense of depression. So you might want to stay away from that and only focus on what you can do for the day. And the 3 things that you can do for that day is control your mindset, your attitude, and the actions that you take. So make sure you take that into consideration whenever you're taking that opportunity to control today. And so we're going to go on to the next. So a couple of exercises that you can do whenever you find yourself feeling depressed or that anxiety that I just spoke about, or a little stress. You can write down 3 of the funniest things that you experienced or seen or heard that day. Not only can you write down funny things, but you can write down things that you're thankful for. What I do every morning when I wake up, I am grateful for 3 things off the top of my head. I can give you 4 right now. When I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes. I'm able to see. I'm thankful for that. When I take in a deep breath and I exhale, guess what? I'm thankful for that. When I find myself able to put my feet on the ground and I can feel what's going on underneath me, I'm thankful for that. When I put my hand on my chest and I feel my heartbeat, I know I got another day of life. I know I have another opportunity to be great. So these are things that you can write down or think about prior to you even getting your day started. This will put you on the right mindset in order to carry on with a very productive day. If you don't believe me, just give it a try. Take down this 1, write down the 3 things, the funniest things, and then things that you're thankful for and experienced or heard that day. 2, breathing techniques. So when you're breathing in, you're breathing in the positive and you're breathing out the negative. So you breathe in the positive for 4 seconds and you breathe out the negative for 8 seconds. So you breathe in deep and count to 4, and then you breathe out for 8 seconds. Get rid of all the negative energy, all the things that you're dealing with, all the things that you're thinking about. You're getting rid of all the negative activity that's going on in your head. Take these breathing techniques in order to help you to be able to cope with the stresses that you might be dealing with. So take that opportunity and that time to make that happen. So now we're on to our little test. It's called How Resilient Are You? And what I need you to do is take out a little sheet of paper and something to write with, and you're going to rate yourself with the questions I asked you on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being very little, and then 5 being very strong. And then at the end, we'll go through the motions to see where your level is at. I give you the overall rates of where you could be at, or where you might be at, or where you should be at. And in the process of doing that, I would like for you to also put it in the comments as well, what your numbers are, so we can possibly like point you in the right direction, or I can see what you're working with as far as your level of resilience. So just make sure you put it in the chat box just as well as writing it down to track your numbers. Okay, so let's begin. So question number 1, in a crisis or a chaotic situation, I calm myself and focus on taking useful actions. Hey, put it in the chat box whether you're 1 through 5 on that. In a crisis or a chaotic situation. Okay. 3.5, 4. Okay, awesome. We're not that far off. That's great. All right. So question number 2. I'm usually optimistic. I see difficult as temporary and expect to overcome them. I'm usually optimistic. I see difficult as temporary and expect to overcome them. Okay, I see 4s, 5s, pretty much average number. I'm glad to see ain't nobody know. Oh, we got a 2.3. Okay, we got 3s, 2.5. Okay, question number 3. Let's go to question number 3. I can tolerate high levels of ambiguity and uncertainty about situation. I can tolerate high levels of ambiguity and uncertainty about situations. Level 1 through 5. I see some pretty average numbers on here, some 5s, some 4s, some 3s. That's good. That's awesome. Some of the people that has 2s, when we get done and we start going through the numbers of this, a lot of these people who have low numbers, I'm gonna expect you to reach out to somebody and do like I said earlier about receiving that help, because we want you to keep moving forward in everything that you have going on. We want you to keep striving to be the best person that you can be, because you were created on purpose for a purpose, and we want you to fulfill that purpose. So we want to keep going. So we're going to go to the next questions. All right, 4. I adapt quickly to new development. I am good at bouncing back from difficulties. Where are we at when we say that? I adapt quickly to new development. I am good at bouncing back from difficulties. 5s. I love it, man. I love it. I love seeing what I'm seeing right now. Somebody said a 6. That's awesome. I love that. Oh man, hey, we got good numbers on that one. I like that. Awesome. All right, let's go on to number 5. Number 5 says, I'm playful. I find the humor in rough situations and can laugh at myself. I am playful. I find the humor in rough situations and can laugh at myself. Okay, some point, hey, somebody said a 6, man. Hey, I'm loving those 6s, man. Like, hey, it's off the charts. It's off the charts. I said 1 through 5, but people saying 6, man. That means you have a high level of humor, a high level of bouncing back, man. It's awesome. That's great to see. And then let's go to number 6. It says, I am able to recover emotionally from losses and setbacks. I have friends I can talk with. I can express my feelings to others, ask for help. Feeling of anger, loss, and discouragement don't last long. Let me read that one more time, because this is a big one right here. I am able to recover emotionally from losses and setbacks. I have friends I can talk to. I can express my feelings with others and ask for help. Feeling anger, losses, and discouragement don't last long. Somebody said a 10. Man, Nicole, hey, whoever you got, man, that's awesome. Justine said 6. Wonderful. Oh man, I really don't see no low numbers in that. So it's an average number between 3. Somebody said 10, but it's an average number between that. Hey, that's great, man. That's really awesome. That's really awesome, man. I'm glad everybody has somebody that they can talk with and that they can really express themselves to, because it's well needed. That's that relationship portion that I was speaking about earlier. Good stuff. All right, so let's go to Number 7, I feel self-confident, appreciate myself, and have a healthy concept of who I am. I feel self-confident, appreciate myself, and have a healthy concept of who I am. Where we stand with that? Man, I'm seeing some good numbers on these last one, man. That's awesome, man. I don't see no 2s. I don't see no 1s like that. I see some people putting in higher numbers than what I had spoke about, but hey, it's all good. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. That just shows you have a strong level of resilience when it comes down to certain things that come about. Don't stop. Keep feeding it. Keep feeding it. A 7 and a 9. Wow. A 14. All the time, 5. I love that. All the time. Okay. All right. So we move on to number 8. I am curious. I ask questions. I want to know how things work. I like to try new ways of doing things. Hey, somebody put a 30. Princess put a 30. Okay, Princess. I am curious. I ask questions. I want to know how things work. I like to try new ways of doing things. Okay, we got a lot of 5. Okay, awesome. Okay, good. Okay, number 9. It said, I learned valuable lessons from my experience and from the experience of others. I learned valuable lessons from my experience and from the experience of others. 2 ways of learning. Either you find out on your own or you learn from somebody else. That's the 2 ways of learning. Either you find out on your own or you learn from somebody else. Okay, awesome, man. Like, hey, we're seeing some really high numbers, man, coming down to the last 5, man. That's great. That's great. I haven't seen no 2s. I haven't seen no 1s. I really haven't seen any 3s anymore, man, which is awesome. Everybody in the high rate. Okay, great. All right, so number 10, last one. I am good at solving problems. I can use analytical logic, be creative, and use practical common sense. I am good at solving problems. I can use analytical logic, be creative, or use practical common sense. Where we stand with that one? Okay, that was the last question. I need y'all to total these numbers up and start throwing them total numbers in the chat box. Start throwing them total numbers in the chat box so we can see what we're working with. And in the process of throwing those numbers in the chat box, I'm gonna give you what your score could mean or what it has. So if you scored a total number of 45 to 50, you're above expectation when it comes down to your level of resilience. If you scored a number of 45 to 50, you're above expectation of your level of resilience. If you scored a number of 30 to 44, you scored a number of 30 to 44, you're on track when it comes to your level of resilience, but it can increase. It can increase. If you're 20 to 25, you're just at the mark. You're just at the mark of having a level of resilience, which means you're pretty much the average. You're pretty much the average. Look at that. We got 30 to 44. Okay. Awesome. And then 20 to 20, we got what is this? Oh, 20 to 15. I'm sorry. 20 to 15, you're at expectation. You're at expectation. And anything lower than that, you need to seek counseling. Anything lower than 15, you need to seek counseling. Seek counseling, reach out to somebody, try to get the help you need in order to carry on. We got some 41, 40 through 50. Okay, great numbers. 35, good. You on track. Hey, continue to increase your level of resiliency. Continue to move forward when it comes down to gaining that, because this is a great thing that can help you overcome any type of adversity. Now, when I'm talking about overcoming, I'm not talking about suppressing it and just moving past it. I'm talking about successfully dealing with your situation, like really analyzing the deep root of where it came from in order to move forward and live a better and prosperous life. That's what resilience is. It's not just suppressing the pain. It's actually dealing with the pain and figure out the root cause of it in order to solve the issue and move on successfully. So don't sit here and think that just because I feel like I bottled up this situation. No, you need to let it out. You need to let out what you're dealing with. You need to let out what you're going through and continue to move forward and prosper. There are people that need you. There are people that love you. There are people that are looking for you to continue to be the person that you are. So don't stop. I love these numbers, man. Like, everybody is like at a high level of resilience, man. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is great. This is great, man. This is great. All right, so let's move forward. So, in conclusion of everything that was discussed, you can find this information and a whole lot more when it comes down to my book, Winning the Battle Within Resiliency, The Secret Weapon. We discussed a lot of things that can help prepare you in the next level of gaining that resilience. We pointed out things that you can build and gain in increasing your level of resilience. We gave you a lot of things that could point you in the right direction when it comes down to prevailing and overcoming adversity. So what I'll do right now is just open up the floor to questions, so therefore we can try and help people the best way possible. So the floor is yours for those who have any questions. Nobody has any questions? I see a lot of people talking about what their location is from. What advice would you give people who are losing hope because of trials they are going through in life, who sometimes just think committing suicide because they can no longer face trials? I would say, before you give up, before you quit, before you do any of those things, remember your why. Remember why you're on this earth. Remember what I said, that everybody was created on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose. Figure out and realize what your purpose is. And once you figure out what your purpose is, set goals for yourself. Don't just give up. There is no such thing as a last resort as far as taking your life. That is always another route to take instead of doing that. So make sure that you figure out what your purpose is, figure out your why, and always act in that manner when it comes to what you're doing. I'm trying to see. Trying to see anybody else. Thank you. What to you is winning the battle within? IGP looks. What to you is winning the battle within? Winning the battle within is being able to overcome the battles that you deal with inside your mind. Like, sometimes we can, if we think negative, it sometimes come to how we act or conduct ourselves. So if we're always on a positive level, like regardless of whether you're positive, you're always going to face hardships. You're always going to deal with some type of adversity. Now, in the process of dealing with those adversity, being optimistic and having a positive aspect, you have to feed yourself positivity. You can't sit there and just feed yourself negativity, which means even the way you speak about yourself or the things that you go through, you have to continue. That's how you win the battle within. That's how you continue to move forward in life. Because you, like, remember what I said, the things that we watch, the things that we speak, the things, the words, the images, all these things play a part in our mind. And I said our enemy is our inner me. So our enemies can try to take us out whenever it comes down to it. We are our biggest enemies at times, our mind. It says, I'm trying to see some of it. Do we have any more questions? I'm trying. If you had asked a question, I see a lot of comments coming in. If you did ask a question, if I didn't answer your question, I'll try to answer it in the chat box once everything is over with to make sure I help you and point you in the right direction possible. Okay. I'm currently about resilient elements. Hello. So I see that we're back, and some of the comments that I seen, proud of y'all leaving. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you so much for all the everything that's going on. How can I improve my research about resilience of the teachers in the time of pandemic? What other things? So some things, man, like that you can do as a teacher is just especially with your students. Just make sure that you just bring awareness to it. Bring awareness to dealing with COVID, because kids are very intelligent. They're very they know what's going on. But once you bring light to the situation and get their opinion on how to handle the situation, because you can ask a question like, with everything going on with the pandemic, how would you handle it? What would you do? Because a lot of kids want to get rid of it just like any other adult would. So when you ask their opinion, it gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them a sense of self-worth, because I let them know that their opinions matter. So I would say, just bring forth it to light, ask questions dealing with it, and just get kids' opinions in order to see and make them feel like they're just as important as everybody else, because they are. Yeah, thank you everybody so much. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate IGP for allowing me to be on their platform and provide this information to everybody. It said how to win a person who gets suicide attempts. So the best thing you could do, like, if you know people that have attempted suicide on multiple occasions, you have to get them the help they need. Because if you just sit there and allow it, they won't take it upon themselves to do it. You will have to really force them to take it upon themselves. And it's only because you care. It's not, you have to have a sense of empathy and not sympathy. because you got to see from their level as far as where they are right now. But then at the same time, you have to not feel sorry for them where they are. You have to get them the help they need. So you have to have a sense of empathy and not sympathy. So I would take them to go get the help they need. Any local facility, any type of therapy, anything that has in that type of aspect, I would take them to those places in order to get them the help they need, and then just check up on them on a constant basis. Because some people just feel like they don't have nobody to listen to them. They don't feel like anybody really care about them. So as long as you're showing that, then that person will have or probably change their mindset as far as taking their own life. I hope that helped. What do I need to do if this time I lost my self-esteem and interest in everything that I love? So the best thing I'll tell you to do if you lost your self-esteem and interest in everything you love, I would tell you to regroup, reassess yourself, figure out where you at, write it down. And once you write that down, write down where you would like to be. Write out what you would like to be 5 years from now. Like you got all the negatives on one sheet of paper, you got all the positives on another sheet of paper. Once you write all the negatives down, burn it up. Get rid of it, because that's no longer you. Now we're finna go in the direction of everything that you wrote down in the positive manner in order to build back your self-esteem and get you where you need to be. So I hope that helped you when it came down to the question that you asked. Will you see me again next webinar? If everybody would like me to come back again next webinar, I have other things that we can talk about in order to help you dealing with your mindset, gaining resilience, and also just building your character. So I'm more than welcome to coming back and dealing and having another discussion with you guys. Does this saying always succeed, smile, and win a friend? Oh man, that's nice. I like that. How to win a learner who is at risk of dropping out of school? That's a good question. I think I was that guy at one point in time, man. I was on the verge of just dropping out of school because I was making more money than I was like in school. It didn't serve no purpose for me. Like I said, I grew up in a low income single parent home, but in the process, the way I did it was it's just like the analogy dealing with the giraffe and the tortoise. So certain people can only see from their level, but you, as the giraffe, can see from a whole nother aspect. You see the greatness in this person, and there at the tortoise can only see so far. So you have to really see them from where they at and try to continue to guide them in the direction needed so they won't go in that path. So just keep on encouraging them, provide them with messages here and there. Let them know that, hey, you're special, you're needed, you're great, you have this sense of purpose. I believe in you. Just let them know things like that. So just continue to have that belief in them, because some people, like I said before, just need a little person to believe in them. That's all they need. So anybody else got any questions? If nobody else has any questions, I'm gonna turn it over to back to IGP. But please, hey, feel free to continue to put them in the comments. If I didn't answer it before, I will do my best to answer all your questions in the box whenever later on today. It says, I lost my faith to my career, A, because of COVID. My career, B, is my mind lately. What should I do? Like I said before, there's only 3 things that you can control. And I told you thinking about the past only causes depression. And I told you thinking about the future only causes anxiety. You can only control today. So when it comes to you thinking about those things that you can no longer control, is something that you have to get out your mind, and it's something that you're going to have to fight with. But I suggest writing these things down on paper, what you want to do, the things that you believe, and having that mindset, like I spoke about before, in order to perceive the things that you see. Like if you continue to deal with the past, you'll continue to dwell in the past. So it's best if you write down the mindset that you want to see in order to perceive it into reality. Because if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you conceive it, you can achieve it. So just make sure you put everything that you want to do and write it out and read it every day, twice a day, when you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed at night. You do these things, I promise you, in due time, it will become reality. Because every dream started out as a goal, and every goal became reality at some point in time. What we thought about became reality. Building houses, making pictures, building cars, all these things became reality. But it started up here first.
That's amazing session, sir. We are obliged to you for your marvelous presentation and giving us your valuable time. This session will be effective for our audience because you shared your intelligible knowledge with us. Dear knowledge seeker, I would love to thank you all from my deep heart for attending today's session. Hopefully, you learned something new and you will implement in your life. Please leave a comment on our page if you learned something or we helped you a little bit. Please spread the information with your friends. We hope to see you all again next webinar. Thank you so much. Stay happy, stay safe. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
Am I audible? Am I audible to you guys? Am I audible? Dear participants, am I audible now? Oh, thank you. Thank you. For the first time, I just ask you something directly. That is, I think you don't neglect me. First of all, you can see the flyer for certification. That is at the same procedure, www.eduigp.com. And for today's session, you don't need any code as well as the previous. But today we have some announcement. First of all, it's a request, not announcement. It's a request because Facebook changed their algorithm about review. I saw that in our page, lots of review, lots. But due to Facebook algorithm, Facebook new algorithm, we lost all the reviews. So for now, Facebook opened a option that is recommendation. If our webinars or if our platform helps you or it's look helpful to you, it can it already help you in your personal and professional life. So it's a request, it's a cordial request. Please recommend IGP, recommend our page, Institute of Global Professionals, into your community. You don't need to go in review section, but you can recommend IGP in anywhere from any site. Just you have to go on your Facebook account and write something about IGP and recommend IGP into your community. That's a cordial request to you, because we don't take anything from you without your support. So we just need your support from deeply. There's a reason we need your support. Without your support, we can't go much more better. And one thing that is, it's a request. Please recommend IGP into your community. If 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 you feel that IGP helps you, IGP's webinars or programs can help you in your professional life or personal life. So on that time, it's a request, it's a cordial request. Please share the review in in our review section, or recommend us in your community. It's a cordial request. And one announcement is that from 1st June, from 1st June to 30th September. From 1st June to 13th September, 30th September, it's around June, July, August, September, 4 month long. We'll arrange a attractive webinar with research and development in practical life. We will arrange research and development in practical life for June 1st June to 30th September. On that time, we will arrange 500 speakers from globally who can share their innovation research with us. So it's a announcement. We're going to arrange lots of attraction for our audience from 1st June to 30th September. Next, what is next? Next is you can verify your certificate from anytime, anywhere. And if anyone wants to join our team as a volunteer, so this is for you. We are looking for some global volunteer for graphics designing and video editing. If you have the vast knowledge about graphics designing and video editing, so this is for you. We need this graphics designer and video editor for our project, which will start on 1st June to 30th September. 4 month long project. If anyone if you are eligible, then you can apply, or if you are not, so you know someone who are eligible for this post, please mention her or him, or recommend him, or invite him. So any kinds of way you can. I already shared the link for this option, and I already another one. I already shared the yes, I already shared the post certification link in comment section, so you can also have a look on it. So no problem. I also shared the link for today's certification in comment box, so no problem. So for the first time, I want to help from you directly, that is recommend IGP. If you feel that IGP helps you, or IGP's program can helps you, so just it's a request, recommend IGP into your community. I just share again for the review section. So you can go to write the review and to go to the link. So you can also do that. Thank you so much. Certification link is the same previous, code not required. I already Joy Somex maybe. Please share link for certification. I already shared the certification link into comment box. I also shared into 5th time. You can check the comment section, and it's a request again. Please recommend IGP into your community. If you feel that it seems helpful to you, so that's the reason. And thank you so much. See you again in next session. Our next session is also attractive one. That is teaching mathematics. It's a teaching mathematics held on 24th March at 6 to 8 p.m. Bangladesh time, UTC +6. Thank you so much. See you again in the next session.